When David Haliski stepped aboard our mobile rescue unit last spring, he thought he knew what to expect. As a graphic designer and photographer at Animal League America, he'd snapped hundreds of photos of puppies and dogs arriving on campus from commercial breeding facilities in the Midwest. They were usually confused and frightened, but David knew that they were safe at last, which made his photos both poignant and hopeful. But this time he was not meeting the mobile unit. He was going along for the ride, headed west on a journey that would change and enrich his life forever. Working with National Mill Dog Rescue in Colorado, Animal League America makes several trips a year to save dogs of all ages and breeds, and in all conditions, from the brutal puppy mill industry. This trip was to Missouri, where we rescued 50 dogs from misery. Yorkshire Terriers, Dachshunds, Shih Tzus, and an 18-month-old yellow lab named Knox. Life in the mills is cruel. Dogs are confined in small cages where they're forced to produce litter after litter. No wonder they're disoriented during the trip. They've never been outside before. They've never stepped on grass, never felt the sun on their snouts, let alone been in a moving vehicle. Poor Knox was so frightened he had to be carried onto the mobile unit. Like all his fellow passengers, Knox had no idea where he was going. Would it be better than the mill or worse? And who were these kind people who, throughout the journey, fed him, walked him, gently stroked and spoke to him, and even cleaned up after him? Could these people be trusted? Once they arrived, the dogs were a bit less anxious, though still wary. And now David understood why, as he never had before, because he'd seen for himself the horrible world they came from. Like all of our newcomers, these dogs got complete medical exams and treatment, including spay and neuter. They also underwent a detailed behavioral assessment. They were groomed. They received all the time they needed to figure out what was happening to them. For Knox, the most important next step, adoption, was already in the works. As soon as he'd seen him, David began to picture Knox as part of his family, joining him, his wife, and their 10-year-old lab, Kayla, back on Long Island. Knox made a relatively smooth transition to his new life, leaning on his patient big sister, Kayla, to show him the ropes. Watching Knox and Kayla interact, David saw how much Knox appreciated the basic things, like regular feedings, a clean, dry bed, and tender, loving care. Knox's story reminds all of us how vital our efforts are and how compassion is a force like no other. A changed life, a saved life. And it's all just part of our no-kill journey